guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called Culture Shock Talk 5 Dutch Mindsets That Improved Our Lives. This is from a channel called Dutch Life Diary, so check it out. I do not know what kind of Dutch mindsets we're going to be listening here and learning about. I don't know, are Dutch mindsets a thing? I guess if you live there, they are a thing for you. So let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The Netherlands.
Real life is apparently very different.
Hi, I'm River.
And I'm Mark.
We moved here to the Netherlands just 2 years ago, and our lives have changed for the better, not just in the ways that we expected, but also in more subtle ways due to some Dutch mindsets.
5 mindsets.
Yeah, 5 mindsets. And some of them were quite subtle. We adopted them slowly. Some showed us a mirror to ourselves and just how different our own culture that we're coming from is in comparison.
They're very subtle. They take time for you to experience them. And they've all been a positive impact on our lives here.
And Dutch viewers, as we go through these terms, if there's something we're still misunderstanding because we're still learning, or something you want to elaborate on, let us know in the comments, because we're going to go through 5 of them, and we're still looking at them with newbie eyes and trying to explain them as best we can from our our understanding at this point in our lives.
First mindset, gezellig.
You might have heard about this already if you come from America. It's a similar concept to hygge. And of course, hygge was everywhere. I think starting in 2019 in America, there was like 10 books put out about it and people talking about it in magazines. And
is that like the relaxing thing that you do with a book or something?
The same,
like from Scandinavia?
Similar. It's a similar concept here in the Netherlands. Gezellig. Which I think says a lot about America, that we can't define it.
Yeah, there's no real clear what to say.
What is it?
Put several words together: coziness, warmth, conviviality. Yeah, that kind of thing. And there really isn't an English equivalent to cover.
Yeah, it's weird because those are very separate things. They can go together, but they're not like the same thing.
Maybe because here they believe in consensus and they believe in community. And in America, it's more about competition. So even when you're having a good time with friends and family, you can appreciate that in America. But there's always a part of you that's even competitive, even maybe with yourself. But there's something about the U.S. where it's tenuous and it evaporates.
There's
like
the pressure of bettering yourself or bettering your neighbor.
Yeah.
And here it's not, that doesn't really exist. It's more like just if you're in a crowd of people, or if you're at a party or gathering with friends, it's that feeling of warmth and coziness, and it's just being able to
taking it in.
Yeah, taking it in, relaxing, and not feeling you have.
But wouldn't that be mindfulness? You're sort of in the moment, and what matters is the present, and it doesn't really matter like what's gonna come afterwards, or if I'm better than them, better than someone else. It's just I'm in the moment. I'm celebrating this moment in time. That's it. Isn't that mindfulness?
Be in competition, and we experience that here. You can experience it in many places. A person can be gezellig, a room can be gezellig, anything that gives you that feeling.
Yeah, an event can be gezellig. It could even be gezellig at a rock concert, if you know.
Yeah.
It's just
because
it's when everything kind of clicks and it clicks together.
Yeah.
That is gezellig. So it's not just being cozy with a big blanket.
I think that's the difference with the other term that we're talking about, the higa. I can't remember the name, but I think it's different from that other concept, because that other concept I think is just about being cozy. In this case, like she mentions, you can feel it anywhere. Like you could be in traffic and maybe like, I'm experiencing this.
And a book and a cup of hot cocoa. Yes, that's cozy. Yes, that can be gezellig. But you could be in a crowded cafe with friends hanging out and having a wonderful conversation, and that also is gezellig.
Yeah, and I took it wrong for a while. I had a colleague at work have to correct me for the meaning of gezellig. I thought it meant equated to zen, and that's wrong. It can be zen. Zen can be part of it, but it's not just calm and cool. It's warmth. There's an added quality to gezellig.
The next one is nixa.
This is a tough one.
Nixa or nixa.
Nixa. Nixa.
Nixa.
So nix is
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yep.
So like I have nothing. It can nix. But nixa becomes a verb, and that's the act of doing nothing, really. And nixa to me was a bit of a culture shock when I got here. So nixa for me, we were in the Netherlands after moving here, maybe 2-3 days, and I went to a brown bar in our new town. I was sitting there and I noticed it was a really nice day, and I thought, oh, I'll sit outside. Where this brown bar was at an intersection. So you were watching bus stops, you were watching cars go by. There was a ramp that went down to underground parking, and so there wasn't much to see except infrastructure. The outdoor area had tables, and all along the wall were two tops, tables for two people. But unlike in America where you would have, and they do this here too, you have a table with two chairs that are facing each other. But what I noticed about this brown bar and other brown bars since is that the tables that are against the wall of the building,
they face
out. So you have a table, but the two chairs are both against the wall looking at the street. They're not looking at each other.
People they just look out, they take in the...
I found that I've only seen that in Europe. I've never seen that I've seen this in the US, and I've always found it really weird.
Environment, taking the people walking by, and that's the act of just being present.
Yeah, being present.
I like it. Yeah, it's true, because you can be having a conversation with someone and still sort of, I don't know, you actually get to people watch and actually take in what's happening. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're like, I forgot you were here. No, of course not. I kind of like it, but I just think it's a little strange because I'm used to like sitting in front of someone. Like if you go out to eat or having a coffee with someone, it's like we have to be face to face, right? But this is weird, although I like it.
And it's not a conscious act. It's not like, I'm going to go practice my nixa now. It's combined with gezellig. You're just like, I'm just going to sit and be. Which shocked me at first because my mind was always on zoom, zoom, zoom from America. So, and I kept thinking, I got to grab my phone. I got to check my emails.
Yeah.
I got to plan my next steps. I got to look at what I just paid at a shop. I got to
And we lived in New York for a long time. And that is always, you always felt that you were on the go.
And I was envious of watching people just relax and just be present. I couldn't shut my mind off for the first few months we were here. I still felt like I had to be doing something, like writing in a book or reading a book or on my phone.
I would assume you also feel a little bit guilty because you feel like you're supposed to be doing something else. And also, I wonder how people with anxiety deal with this, because this is very, your brain's always running. It's always constantly thinking about something. So how do anxious people deal with nixa? Do you get nixa?
I didn't start to notice. One day I just noticed
nixa.
I was doing nixa. I was sitting there just looking out. And it wasn't until I paid the check and left that I realized I didn't pick my phone up. It was like I suddenly had embraced the Dutch pace, the Dutch way of life, in a way where I could finally just be present in my own life.
Yeah, and you find that in general over here, people leave these either in their bags or on the table. They don't even look at them.
Yeah.
And it's very refreshing. Yeah.
As a former...
Also, I'm wondering if it's, what the medium age group people are checking out their phones. Is it older people? Is it younger people? Because I would like to check the statistics and see if there's a particular age group that does it more than the others, because probably it's about, I would assume like older people maybe like forget their phones a little bit more often because they're not, they live their whole lives without it. But I would assume younger people, because you live your whole life with a phone, it's a little bit sort of, no, I have to check my phone, or I have to like always be mindful of my phone because it's something that's a part of you. But I guess older people might feel about this a little bit different, just because, again, they've lived a whole bunch of their lives without it. So it's not something that they're necessarily like they need.
Restaurant server. It was amazing to go out to restaurants and see families sitting together eating and talking.
Wow, what a concept.
I would serve tables.
You go to eat with friends or family and you talk to each other. Wow, that's so strange. I mean, this is clearly sarcastic. Of course, that's the point. If you go out to eat with someone, that you're supposed to be interacting with them. It's not like everyone's on their phones, just sort of, no, because why would you do that, right? Although being comfortable with someone also means, each one of them is on their phone. But not if you go out to eat. I think that's more like, let's chill at home and do whatever you want to on your phone, but together.
tables would be 4 or 5 people, 2 adults, 2, 3 kids, and every single one of them was just on their phone, not talking to each other at all. There was a few times I would see people at the table texting each other at the same table.
That's
like
weird.
Siblings texting each other, or husband and wife text while they're sitting right next to each other.
No, that's weird.
In New York.
In New York, yeah. So, and Wyoming. So, here it's like people remember to be present and be present for their families.
Unless you're gossiping and you're like, I don't want them to know. I'll text you.
And so they're also leaving themselves open for gezellig experiences. So, yeah.
People,
I love
it's
the
not to
fact
be
that you can,
confused with laziness.
like, force this.
It's about allowing your mind.
It's not bed rotting or anything like
it's
that.
It's allowing your mind to just be clear. And in Dutch culture, it actually is encouraged because it fosters creativity. It calms you, and that's you see that all the time, actually.
And I think part of it too is that in America, your boss finds you everywhere you go. I mean, I've had bosses call me when I was just a receptionist. They're calling me at 2 a.m. because they ran out of toilet paper in their house. They're telling me to check my emails throughout the day. If they call, even if I'm in a play or a movie, I have to step out to take the call, or I'm in trouble because I'm supposed to always be available. Even though I'm not in work hours.
Exactly.
And so that fosters a sense that you have to constantly be monitoring every aspect of your life, everywhere you go. The other part is that in the Netherlands, they leave you alone in the cafes. They don't give you a time limit on your tables, so you don't have to think, I've got to cram in everything I came to this coffee shop to do. I wanted to read that chapter. I wanted to do some work. I wanted to relax. I got to do all that in the next hour and a half before they drop a check and, they tell me I have to pay the bill and get out. You're also, because it's not a tip culture, you're not constantly being asked every 10 minutes. And trust me, I was a server and a bartender in New York into my 40s, so I understand why it's like that in America.
Yeah.
It's survival. But here, they pay everyone a good wage, so
they don't have to rely on tips.
You'll ask for the check, the bill, when you're ready. They don't have to harass you. You'll ask them when you want something. There's not constantly trying to upsell you and then get you out. So there's an atmosphere that is conducive to Nixa, where you can just sit and nobody's going to hassle you.
And the third mindset is work-life balance.
And this plays into Nixa. Like I said, you're not
all of those
being
concepts
told to
together.
constantly be monitoring your professional life everywhere you go in your personal life.
Yeah, and there's a clear separation. We've noticed here in the Netherlands, people, when you leave work, first of all, the Dutch are very prompt. They're known for being punctual. They will leave on time, but once they leave work, you can't contact them. It's right away. That's and there's Dutch laws that actually protect this. You go home to your family, and work is work. It's out of the picture.
That's what it should be.
That separation is actually kind of rare. You really don't have it in America. Some places you do, but people in a culture in America where people are taking work home with them all the time, you've got to be available on your phones. Here,
at all times.
Not the case. I'm not saying exclusively that. There's people that work hard in every culture, every country, but it is a very clear mindset that when I leave work, I go home to my family, go with my friends, and I'm not going to think about work.
In fact, at Mark's job, he's not even able to access his work email outside of work. It's on the work server, and that's where it stays. So, he's not going to have to respond to a bunch of emails in his off time. He can't.
That's crazy
and I'm
to
sure
me.
there's plenty of jobs in the Netherlands. Again, this is not exclusive, but at my workplace, it's just at work. You can access your email.
Yeah, and
I'm wondering how common that is. Is it normal over there to have that?
People, if you get a repair done, you need a repair, whatever. There are people that will do weekend calls, but for the most part, they're like, no, don't bother me on the weekend. I'll get mad.
People know better. Yeah.
And you can't pay me enough to give up my quality time with my family. I'm not coming. Your emergency is yours alone. You can cope until work hours.
Yeah, especially when you have young children.
That's crazy because imagine telling that to your boss in the U.S. That would be, no, they're going to fire me. They'll just replace me.
Had a young son and a newborn.
He still has them.
Yeah, he still has them. But he makes it very clear he's not to be disturbed when he leaves work. And you can leave texts The texts are going to go unanswered until the next workday during work hours, not even before work.
Part of that too is, in the U.S.,
That's crazy because do they just get them, but they ignore this? I don't know if it's an emergency. I don't know. That's so strange to me how they're able to sort of compartmentalize that. It's sort of like, how do you do this? I know that someone needs me, but I'm also like, I'm not clocked in because it's not my work, I'm not in work hours. So how do you, I'm going to have to block them. I don't know. It's really weird how you are able to sort of I'm going to separate this and the other, and it's fine. They need me, but I'm not going to answer to them. It's kind of like, that's so strange to me.
Told that if anything happens in your personal life, it's still contingent upon your job as to whether or not that warrants taking time away from the job. There's no mandatory sick days or mandatory or vacation days in America by law. It's set by the individual employer. I worked multiple jobs in offices, and only 3 of them actually gave me
Sick
time off. Yeah. There was one job I had, they would give me 3 sick days per year, unpaid. So it basically meant you won't get paid, but we won't fire you if you use 3 or less days.
Nice, huh?
Yeah. I had another job where, they gave me 3 days off for my grandmother's death, and then wanted to know immediately when I got back if I had any other sick grandparents that they needed to plan for, or possibly replace me if I had another grandparent pass away.
Yeah, again, this is a big culture of need to produce all the time in America, whereas here there is just it's about keeping people happy. People stay.
Because your life is not just your work. They know that there are other things that involve life. It's not just work, and your work is your life. As in, I think it's more similar in the US, that sort of work equals life.
And healthy.
And healthy, yeah.
Yeah. If you're sick, stay home, of course. Why would you bring that into everybody else to get sick? Why would you delay your ability to heal yourself? Go home, stay home. Why? And it's going to make you less efficient on the job anyways.
Plus, you get other people sick if you go into work sick. If you have that pressure on you.
That as well.
So over here it's very clear, and you can just experience it when you talk to people, and they kind of look at you shocked if you tell them the culture that we came from and what they did, what the practices were at jobs in America versus here. And again,
they find that weird.
I want to speak exclusively about America, saying no, there's sick days are rare, but in many, many cases, it depends on the employer.
Really
if it's a small,
it's up to the employer.
Yeah, exactly.
There's this constant need to be available to your boss, and there's good bosses. I've only had 2 in my life, but there's good bosses, but there's a lot of bad bosses, because for them it's all about productivity and numbers in America and competition.
That brings the stress level up too, so you're less productive because of that as well.
Yeah. Whereas in the Netherlands, they know life happens, and your job is not your life. Your job is what pays your bills, and it shouldn't be all-encompassing. So another part of the work-life balance too is actually being able to use your vacation time and getting enough of it to last you through the year. But I had several companies where I had vacation time in one job.
I wonder, could you accumulate your vacation time? If I don't take my vacation this year, can I feasibly have I've accumulated, I don't know, I know they get a lot, maybe 3 weeks. So could you do 6 weeks, if you don't take anything off in 1 year, could you do two 6 weeks the year after? Or they make you use them up that same year?
I worked out for 5 years and never took one vacation day because I was told that the expectation was not to use the vacation day, but to cash it in at the end of the year. So after 5 years, I was burnt out and wanted a vacation, and they were shocked.
Yeah.
They were like, what? No, you want to go away for 2 weeks? I did get the vacation approved. I did take the vacation, and when I came back, they made it very, very clear that,
never do that again.
It made a lot of difficulties for them, and they would hope that I would not participate in my vacation days in the future.
Whereas over here, people will take a month off. If you get a month vacation, in my workplace, you'll see faces disappear for a month and you wonder where they went. Well, they're on holiday. And when they come back, they just jump back into the fray of things, and everything is fine. Everybody has that look on their face like they're very well rested.
And also the 8% holiday pay, which means you don't really have to save for your vacations. They offer you what is equivalent to 8% of your income to take a holiday. What? It's that serious. It's like, take the holiday here.
Unpaid.
So, you don't have to take it out of your living expenses. You get this holiday bonus, which is terrific because, like, in America, the last job we had was very good about vacation.
I don't think I've ever heard that in my life. Probably, if I heard, I forgot. What? That's insane. They give you, like, they pay you, I think, was what, 75%? That's crazy.
They gave them to us willingly, but we didn't have the money to take trips often. So we would just do staycations, just stay at home and just
rest at home
from not having to go to work, even though I still answered emails while I was on vacation.
Yeah, and at my workplace, people always talk about the trips they're going to be taking. They're not staying at home.
Another Dutch mindset we love is planning ahead. And this one can be difficult for Americans depending on where you live. For us, it was a little easier because we came from New York City. So there, people do tend to plan ahead. Your neighbors and friends don't knock on your door.
Yeah, it's not exclusive to the Netherlands, but it is ingrained in them, really.
Yeah. And rest of America, where I've lived, people will just show up at your house.
Yeah.
Hi.
Don't do that here.
Yeah, don't do
I've never heard of that. I think that's extremely rude in a lot of places. It's like, don't show up at my door. Like, I'd never, like, why would you do that? It wouldn't occur to me to do that to someone else. And I wouldn't expect everyone or someone to do that to me because, again, you haven't called and said, hey, can I stop by? No. What?
Yeah. And, planning ahead, Americans, they're not used to waiting for things. They're not used to planning when to go to the grocery store because
Agree. Okay, yeah, but like to the grocery store, that's different. But like visiting other people, I find that really, I don't know. It's something I think it depends on the person, depends on the culture. But I think in the U.S., I think that's considered a little strange. Like if someone shows up at your door, you would probably like, what? Shouldn't you have called up first? Obviously, it depends. Maybe you have friends or family in which this is not really like they show up unprompted and it's normal because that's your the kind of relationship you have with them. But as a general rule, like do not do this. And I think most people know better than to do this, both in the U.S. and the Netherlands, and I think everywhere else, right?
Because the grocery store is closing at 8. That's
different. Yeah, but again, if you're going somewhere like in the city, that's a different beast altogether than just visiting someone. Because I get what she means. Like, yeah, you have like the convenience of I don't want to plan ahead. I just ran out of something. I just want to go to the store at whatever time. 11 p.m. Oh, I ran out of coffee. Okay, like I want to go out and like have my coffee. It's not necessarily something that I'm planning of, oh, I have to get coffee. Like, no, it's something that it's about convenience and you just want it now. And, I need it now. I want it now.
Mom and pop shop closes at 5. They're used to these 24-hour superstores everywhere where they can get anything at any time. And it kind of adversely affects your life. You spend more time taking trips that you don't need to take throughout the week because you're not planning ahead so much.
And that ties into what we had just talked about was the work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's not unusual for stores to close at 5 o'clock. And on the weekends, bars, restaurants to close early.
No.
And if you're not aware of it, you're going to be very disappointed. So it's a Dutch mindset, both social interaction as well as professional. When you go to work, planning ahead as well. But
that ties with me. I can't be inconvenienced for even 1 second of my life, and that's a really American thing of like, oh no, what do you mean it's not open 24 hours?
Things in calendars, really important.
Another thing is a lot of Dutch employers pay once a month, so you also plan ahead for
it's monthly.
Your expenses and your contingencies for the month. A lot of American employers, they'll pay weekly or bi-weekly or bi-monthly. Yeah. And then the other thing that we wanted to cover is the one that I think that the Dutch get a bad rap for, and for me, it's the biggest advantage to living here, and that's Dutch directness. I love Dutch directness.
It's very direct, and I guess part of the philosophy is they don't like to waste time. So if there's a lot of small talk or whatever, and you're beating around the bush about something,
it's not practical.
It wastes time. So the Dutch come right out and they tell you what they think, and that's I think is a great quality. We first experienced it our first trip to the Netherlands, and so we were coming to visit them for the first time and stay overnight. At the end of the dinner, they announced,
that's the end of
You should
dinner.
leave.
We now want to be alone to watch TV and unwind before we go to bed. So good night.
Get out.
And we went up to our room, and I was like, did we offend them? Did we say something that made them kind of shut down the dinner party? But then when we figured out, no, it's just Dutch directness. They're letting us know what their needs are. They're letting us know that the time.
I would be just like them. I would be thinking, I better go then. I don't want to leave them. Like, I don't want to inconvenience anyone. I would feel like so, not offended. I think I would just feel sad. I don't know. I would just go
They
right in my
allotted,
room.
again, planning ahead, the time they allotted for this meal is not a bottomless pit of time. It's like in America, sometimes it gets awkward at dinners with friends, etc., because no one knows when to walk away because no one wants to offend the other
leave.
person.
And there's nothing rude about it.
No.
Or anything. It's time to go. You know, and that's basically it. They weren't annoyed when they said this, but it kind of.
But as if you're having like a good time, why would you want to leave? Like, if both parties are having fun, it's not like, why would you want to leave? Like, I'm having fun, you're having fun, we're having a good time. Why would you want to leave? I would like, someone told this to me, like, hey, leave, the dinner is over. I would be thinking, well, clearly, like, they don't like me because, you know, they're not, when you're having a good time, you kind of don't want the night to end.
It took us by surprise, so we kind of didn't know how to react to that because we weren't used to people saying that. You know, in America, we'd go to parties and people would kind of linger and the hosts would be awkwardly looking at the clock and wondering when people are going to leave. None of that here.
Yeah, and
if
once
your-
we moved
if your
here,
friends don't
it got
know.
even better for me because I have autism, and so I found that in the Netherlands I operate much better than I do in America. In the U.S.,
Okay.
things are hidden a lot more. Americans are bold,
because, yes.
brash, loud. Yes, we are. We can be very rude. We can also be very nice, maybe a little too nice, asking constantly how you are, then not really waiting for the answer. But I, as an autistic person, struggled with social cues because people don't necessarily tell you what they're feeling and thinking. So when we would go to parties or meet with our friends, I'd always quiz him
layered.
afterwards. Was I okay? Did I say anything I need to apologize for later? Did I not pick up something? Were they trying to leave and I didn't notice? Did they want to change the subject and I didn't notice? And it just always put me on edge. It gave me more social anxiety and anticipation and fear going into a social setting than I have here. I don't have it at all here. I know they're going to tell me when it's time
you do
to
something
wrap
wrong.
up. They're going to
Yeah.
tell me if they're annoyed with something I said, and I don't have to worry
I do
if
like
I
that.
miss a social cue, and it is so refreshing. So, the Netherlands, autistic friendly.
The 5 mindsets that we're discovering, we're all the time now. We kind of point it out to each other, and we can pick it up immediately, these 5 mindsets, when we come across them.
And I think that if I were to visit America, having any one of those not be present in my life anymore, my life would feel less for it.
Yeah.
My life experience would feel less for it.
Yeah, and to add to
That's really
that, when
cute.
I've visited home, America, a couple of times to visit my family and friends. When I go to America, I can actually see the differences between the attitudes here, the mindsets, and the mindset in America.
If you're an American watching this, are any of these surprising to you or that you would think you would find difficult? If you're Dutch, let us know what we got wrong. I'm sure you will. Dutch directness, I love it. And also, what might have surprised you? Like, oh, I didn't realize that aspect of my life, which we just take for granted, would be such a big deal. So whatever, put it in your own words, tell us what you think. Yeah, we're just glad you're joining us for another Culture Shock Talk, so thanks.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you again soon.
I was thinking about the last point. And she mentioned, like, I don't think there's some of them that I would consider rude, but not necessarily rude because I understand that's their culture. But like she said, someone you're having dinner with friends, and you go out either at home or you go out to a restaurant or a bar, and then, but especially I think this is probably because if you're somewhere else, you can just leave. You just go, hey, I'm heading out, bye. But if you are like at someone's house or they're at your house, and then it's sort of, hey, I'm leaving, you're having like a good time. I think it would be okay. So did I do something wrong? Like if I'm the host, I would be thinking I did something wrong. And if I'm, the person going to the dinner party, I would be thinking, oh my God, did I do something wrong? Did I offend them in anyhow or in any way? And I get like, no, it's their directness, and they have an allotted time for this dinner, and it's not necessarily that you did something wrong. However, I do disagree with this a little bit, just because I believe that if you're having a good time, usually like that's not, you don't want things to be over because you're having a good time. So it's not necessarily of, hey, no, the clock's ticking, because you just want to leave. I think that happens when you're not having such a good time. You're kind of like, okay, so how long do I have to stay here? Do I have to stay for like 2 hours more? You're constantly looking at your clock, your watch. You're thinking, well, then it's time to be over. Like how much? And then you start thinking, like, for how long can I stay here without being considered rude to leave? I think that's my point, when you're not having a good time. But if we're coming from the idea of like, this are your friends, these are people that you like, things are like, I don't know, they just flow. And what they say, like, oh, you go to a dinner party and you see the host sort of like nervously like looking at the clock, or being like, oh my God, for how much longer are these people going to be staying here? I think if they're your friends, I think it's just normal for, you can have a conversation, and you can be a little bit more, hey, you guys, I think it's getting a little bit late, and I'm a little sleepy. I don't know. I still have to pick up everything here. I don't know. I think that, if they're your friends, you can be a little bit more, I think, honest about these things, and then everyone doesn't. No one's gonna take it the wrong way. You can say, hey, you guys, I'm having like the greatest time ever. That I have an early wake up call tomorrow, or whatever. So I think it's just again, conversations and communication are a good thing in social relationships. So it's like, yeah, I think there's gonna be a little bit of a balance here. And there's gonna be a more, I don't know, I think like there you can find a balance. I think that would be like the perfect sort of place to me, just mentally speaking and socially speaking, of where it's not that direct, as in please leave, or not even the please. So probably just be like, hey, you need to leave because I need to sleep. And there's gonna be a balance between that and putting this in a more, I don't know, in a nicer way of like, hey, having a great time, but it's time for me to like go to sleep. So I think there's gonna be a little bit of a balance there between, communicating your needs and your wants, but not necessarily be upsetting, I think, anyone else. So again, balance, good, right? I think, it's not about, making, because I think maybe that's not a very Dutch mindset, for me, right? Because I'm thinking, I wouldn't want to inconvenience anyone. I don't want other people to feel awkward or strange. But I think probably, again, that's because I'm not Dutch. Probably Dutch people are, but why would I take, how everyone else or how the other person feels, if that's not, I don't want to like lessen the blow just because I want to be direct. And for them, being direct is probably the more sort of like the most important part. And to me, I'm thinking, for me, of course, honesty, the best policy, usually in most cases, but also I think it's important not to hurt anyone's feelings. So to me, that's going to be, if I take it like what's present here, I would say no. To me, the most paramount thing, it's no, it's not making feel other people bad. Right? So, but again, maybe that's just me, and I understand that for them, they prioritize other things. So maybe not. It's not like, no, they're not going to pay attention to this. That's not how they do this, simply because, again, they don't really care, like, if it hurts your feelings. But to me, it's like, no, most important is, like, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but that's not very Dutch of me, right? Probably not. The other is that the planning ahead thing, I already mentioned, it's like, I think it just depends. Showing up unannounced, that's quite rude. Although I think the other things of like, you have to go out and again, you want to grab dinner like really, really late, or you just want to like, for some reason, you have like a need to get something very specific, and then you can't get it because the store is closed. It's just, and I think that's how you get like delivery service, or, I'm wondering how, because probably not, right? I think delivering like food and all of that, I think in the US, obviously that's very like Postmates and Uber Eats and all of that. I think it's just like a food delivery service. It's just very popular, all of them. But I'm wondering if in the Netherlands, they're probably not that popular because I think, again, in the US, no one wants to be inconvenienced for like not even a second. And also that's how you get like Amazon Prime and everything kind of like delivered at your door 24 hours, maybe not 24 hours, but you get it in less than 48 hours because again, you just want things like right now. And I order something, I expect to get it like, right the next day, early morning. So this is because again, you don't want to be inconvenienced, but in this case, because you have to plan ahead, I think maybe because their mentality is a little bit different, probably those services are not that popular. Again, putting it out there, I do not know, but I'm very curious to know because again, if you have to plan ahead, maybe you don't really get to that. Oh, I'm craving pizza at, I don't know, 12 a.m. I can't because again, nothing's opened. So I have to whatever, I'll go on, I'll keep going with my life. In this case, in the US it's no, because I want it and I can get it right now. So again, I'm wondering how popular all those services are. And as for the other like the Nixa and the was like the several the Gazalik, I don't remember the actual names, the pronunciation, but I think those go really tight. They really tie together. I think they go hand in hand. It's good. I love, how relaxing it sounds. Great. It sounds very relaxing. It sounds amazing. The fact that to me, it's like a little bit of like a mindfulness. It's sort of, you have to be here. You have to be present. You're not thinking about, your phone, all the things you have to do, all your coming like to-do list. No, you're just like sitting here, having a cup of coffee and just enjoying, people watching, enjoying thinking about life. I know why it fosters creativity, because of course, if you're just sort of sitting there, and again, I put the example of like, if you're at a coffee shop, but again, I understand that you can have this basically anywhere else. You can be on the subway, you can be on public transport, and you just let your mind wander because again, you're sort of in the moment. Although I think those things are maybe a little bit opposite of, I have to be in the moment, I have to be present, and I'm sort of looking around me. But also, like, if I let my mind wander, wouldn't that be, not that mindful? It's not really mindfulness related, or maybe it is. I don't know. I think we're getting very philosophical here. So I do not know, but I'm just putting it out there of, I think those are similar concepts, at least to me, from my understanding. Although I think it's hard to explain because it's one of those things which I think it can only be sort of experienced, like you'll know it when you'll experience it, you'll know it when you feel it. So it's kind of it's hard to put it into words, it's hard to explain to someone. And I think my favorite thing about them is that you can't really force them. It's something that happens. You can just go, oh, I'm practicing Nixa. It's like, no, it's going to come. You have to let it come. You have to let it wash over you. And if the right circumstances like allow for this, you'll see. So I love the idea of not forcing anything. It's just, it just happens. But also, like, again, I'm wondering like how the anxiety-ridden people like relate to this. It's sort of, or people with some sort of anxiety disorder or, ADHD, like, wow, how do they deal with this? Like, what's in the Netherlands, do they still, does this allow them to sort of, it has helped with their condition or something else? Because again, when you have anxiety, it's kind of like, so, I'm wondering how exactly they're able to do with this. Or maybe it helps them because you have to practice this. Although at the same time, again, you can't force this. It's something that just happens. It's just because of the right circumstances. So it's kind of like, it's when you get, I can't remember the name, but when you get like goosebumps and you're like listening to music and you get like goosebumps or the hairs on your neck, on the back of your neck, stand out. And it's sort of like similar to that. You can't really force it. It's something that just occurs, you never know. It's like, I never know when I can experience this. So on one hand, it's sort of, it's very ephemeris and it can happen, but you're chasing after this, but at the same time you can't really chase after that because it defeats the purpose of the whole thing. But I love it. It seemed like Dutch mentality is just like a very chill, relaxing, and just being very in the moment. Although again, maybe not with the directness, because that's a huge culture shock, at least to me. But that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.